saw the ice racing technique video that we did a couple of weeks ago, you might have heard me mention some shifting techniques, rev matching, double clutching, and toe heeling. Some people commented in an email and said that they weren't sure exactly what that meant or didn't know how to do that, and asked if I'd show them how. So let's do a little demonstration and talk about how to rev match. I've got a camera down there, and we'll use that to show exactly how you can do these things that you might have seen race drivers do. And most of them are really unnecessary, but they're good to know anyway. So the first thing is called rev matching. Rev matching is actually throttling up the engine when you downshift, so that when you let your foot off of the clutch, the engine revs are perfectly matched with what they need to be for the speed that you're traveling on the current road. So let's see what a traditional downshift looks like without rev matching. I'm going along about 50 miles an hour in 5th gear. I'm going to go down to 4th and let off the clutch. And as you can see, I was rocked forward a little bit as the car decelerated just a little bit, as the engine was forced to accelerate very quickly. And what's happening is, as you go down through the gears at any given speed, the engine RPM must increase to match that speed. A lower gear is a smaller gear, which means the engine has to spin more quickly to keep the car traveling at the same speed. If you just downshift and take your foot off the clutch like that, what's happening is the tires are effectively increasing the speed of the engine for you and the momentum of the car. So as you downshift, the tires grip into the road, which spins the wheels, which spins the transmission, which spins up the engine. That means that you are using grip to increase the speed of the engine, but there's an easier way to increase the speed of the engine, of course, which is with your right foot on the throttle. So now what I'm going to do is rev match, which is simply put the clutch in, give a little gas, and into 4th, and there, if you probably noticed, there was no jostling, no rocking forward, really no impact on the tires at all. Let's do this again. Again, 50 miles an hour in 5th, and very smooth, much more smooth. When you do it that way, you're not putting any extra demands on the tires. So if you're going into a corner, you're braking hard, you're turning in, if you can rev match like that, that gives you more grip to spend on braking or on turning, and less grip is going to be required to increase the speed of your engine, which is, again, something that you can do very easily with your right foot. So it takes a little bit of practice to get that right, but it's something that you can do very easily as you're driving to work or driving to wherever. But of course, you should only practice it when there aren't other cars around, at least until you get reasonably proficient at it. Now, the next step beyond rev matching is called double clutching. Double clutching is something that used to be much more common back in the days when transmissions are a little bit more primitive than they are now. In fact, older Corvettes used to recommend in the manual that drivers double clutch whenever they downshift. What is double clutching? Well, it's simply rev matching, but with the transmission in neutral and your foot off the clutch. So that means instead of simply putting the clutch in, rev matching, and letting the clutch out again as you go into the lower gear, you put the clutch in, move the shifter to neutral, lift off the clutch, then you rev match, then you push the clutch in again, and then you pick your lower gear. So again, rev match, simple, going from 5th to 4th, looks like that. Now we'll go down to 3rd with a double clutch, looks like that. Let's do that again. Without a double clutch, one press of the clutch and a little bit of gas in the middle. With a double clutch, a little bit more complicated. That's something that takes practice, and realistically the benefit there on a modern transmission that's in good shape is very minimal. What you're doing when you double clutch, when you lift off the clutch, you're actually tying the transmission internals to the engine itself. So when you speed up the RPM within the engine, you also speed up those transmission internals so that they will sync up and they will connect together much more smoothly when you make that downshift. There are things in modern transmissions called synchros which work to help that synchronization happen much more smoothly. But you can help it even more so by double clutching. If your transmission is getting old, if you're getting some grinding when you shift, double clutching can really help. I have a 91 Toyota MR2, a car that is world-renowned for having very poor synchros. And so I've had to learn to double clutch when I'm downshifting if I want to avoid making some horrible noises on the autocross circuit. So now you know how to rev match. When you're downshifting, you can do that much more smoothly, save your clutch, save your transmission, and maybe shave a few tenths as well. But you might be wondering, how do you brake while you're doing that? Obviously, the primary time you're going to be downshifting is when you're slowing down your car. And if you're slowing down your car, you're probably using the brakes, which means you need one foot on the pedal in the middle here, the brake pedal. If you need a foot on the clutch and a foot on the gas, that means you've got 3 pedals and 2 feet, and the math doesn't quite work there. That's where toe heeling comes in, or heel towing, depending on who you subscribe to. And that's the process of actually covering both of the right 2 pedals with your right foot, and working them both at the same time with your right foot. You'll put your toe, or the left side of your foot, on the brake pedal, and then either your heel or the right side of your foot on the gas pedal. And the Subaru works best if you have your big toe on the brake and your pinky toe or the right side of your foot on the gas. And then let's get up a little bit of speed here. And as you're braking into a turn, you simply do that. You effectively rock your leg over to the right as you downshift, applying the gas while you maintain pressure on the brake. And it takes some practice for sure to get this right. This is definitely the hardest of the 3 things we're talking about today. And again, it's something that you can practice on the street as you're driving anywhere you like, but this one you should be very careful that there's nobody following you closely when you do it. It's very easy when you twist your foot to the right to add that little bit of gas to accidentally stomp on the brake at the same time and come to a screeching halt. And if you've got somebody behind you, you might be exchanging information with them. And nobody wants to be doing that on their drive home while they're practicing. Especially be hard to explain why you suddenly came to a screeching halt in the middle of the road. So again, we'll just cover the brake and twist the foot to the right a little bit, and there you go, smooth engagement into the next lower gear, and hopefully through the corner and into first place.